This is one of my favorites. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is what it's about. So I appreciate that. There are so many people with their own stories and philosophies. I will ask these people random questions which they have no prior knowledge of. My goal is for us to learn from the many lives and the many feelings of others.
Oof. I don't really know, like,
That's a tough one.
Wow, that's an interesting question.
So my name is Lisa Dominguez, and I am the CEO and founder of Spa O on the Go, which is a mobile spa, and we have we also are located in Secaucus, New Jersey, and we go by Spa O at Exchange, and that's like a urban spa retreat type of vibe. And yeah, we offer massage therapy, skincare, body waxing, and body scrubs, and just overall retreats for everyone.
What are your values, or what do your values consist of?
My values consist of just like a lot of dignity. Yeah, definitely dignity is like the top. Like I believe people, right? And that's why from the beginning of time, it's always been like, wait, you're not executing what you said you were going to do. Like, I thought everyone did that until I learned later on that it's like, oh no, people have to work on that. So I've always been a woman of my word. So dignity to me is like top values, like core values. Respect for sure, because we could disagree and have different beliefs, but respecting those things. And yeah, that's just to name a few.
I love that you brought that up, because I'm kind of the same way. I was raised to, if I'm going to say something, do it kind of thing. And then it was like a very hard pill to swallow, not only in my personal life, but also as a business entrepreneur person. It was like, holy crap, nobody does what they say they're going to do. But yet we're out there like making sure that, we're struggling to keep our word, like even if in the worst circumstances, or even if we can't, we're like, no, I can't not complete what I said I was going to do. So yeah, that's a good one. It's not easy. It's
not.
No.
It's not. And we can't be judgmental, because people are in different phases of their lives. So we also have to meet where people are without judging them. That comes with growth, because back then I was like judging everyone.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I had a business a long time ago that was very successful, but I lacked a lot of that compassion towards other people not being like I am. So yeah, it's a balancing act.
It is.
What family patterns do you fear repeating?
Oh my gosh. I would want to say financially not being educated, right? Like just kind of like, yeah, hustle and we got to do this right now and it gets done, but not having like a plan, like strategically planning finances. I think that would be my top one.
Yeah, it's crazy how I think I could relate, especially a lot of Latino families. Like everything is just go. We live for the day. There's no real long-term plan.
We'll figure it out,
and they do. Listen, that's awesome. But you do need a plan, and you need to think long-term, because it's like working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Right. Cool. How do you define success?
Oh man, I mean, I define it so differently than I did 5 years ago, but for me is being available for my children and being available for my mom, being available for my mate, because I have that flexibility now. That's success to me. Like, I don't know. It's like a few years ago, it was like being able to pick up my children at 3 o'clock. That was like the biggest success. I think that was the first time I reached success, when I was able to say that. But now they're older and they walk home. So I'm like, oh, wait, I have to change what that is now. So it's definitely being available for them when they are off of school, but also being accessible to my mom and my family and my partner, right? Because it's like, it's the freedom. That's success.
Yeah, I agree. Freedom is such like a underrated form of success. Like
Yes.
it's so good. And congratulations on your engagement. I remember I saw the
Thank
post. Yeah.
you. Yes, I'm like so
Yeah.
excited.
Big things.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you love?
Yeah. I love I love very differently than I loved again a few years ago because I've grown I've emotionally I have grown. So I feel that I love very much with compassion and generosity, and I don't let everyone in right away, right? But I do love at the moment. Like you can walk down the street and there's a woman or a man that needs help with their groceries. That's a form of love to me. Like for me to grab their groceries and say, let me help you with that. I don't ask for help. I tell them, I'm going to help you. Because sometimes there's a lot of times that a lot of people are like, no, 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 I don't need help because they don't want to bother you or take your time. But I'm like, no, hey, how are you? Is this where it belongs? To me, that's how I love the world and that's how I inspire the world. One, because I would want someone to help my mom if she's in need, or me when I become elderly and I'm not, depending on what my health issues will be. And that's how I love. I love with so much generosity and so much real, genuine care.
Now, you've mentioned a couple times about how before you were like this and now you're not. How about if you wouldn't mind elaborating what happened in those years of all these that the old you and the new you, like what caused all those changes, what was going on before, what's going on now?
Yeah, the old version of who I was and who I am now are two different people. Not in my characteristics, not who I am inside, but what I knew, right? I was ignorant to love. I was ignorant to communicating correctly. I was ignorant to loving, like openly and honestly. So I would say everything, a lot happened to me. Domestic violence happened to me in my relationships, sexual abuse at a very young age with strangers. Um, that's what happened. Like the core of it was when I was 9, when I was sexually abused by someone. And that was like, it just changed my life, my perspective as a young little girl. And then it happened again at 12. And it was like, well, what's going on? Like, so that's, and, in our community, it was kind of like, you don't speak about things, or it was never said that you could. And I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And then I saw how angry my family typically would be in tough situations. So I was always like guarded. So that caused a lot of anger, anxiety. And my anxiety came with working really hard. It didn't come like I was depressed. It was just like laser focused. What am I doing to forget all that? And also, I drank a lot of alcohol to help that. And, I could say that now because I say like almost borderline alcoholic because I wasn't. It's not like I had to wake up and have a drink. But when I was like really stressed, I was like, all right, I need to have this drink. I need to have a shot now. And like, this needs to decompress me now. And that came from anger. It came from resentment. It came from not being open about it, not speaking about that. And yeah, I know that that's where it came from. And doing the work of seeing certain patterns and certain people I was with, or how people portrayed me, I was like, yeah, that's not who I am. What's going on? So I did a lot of retreats within the past 15 years. And that helped me become who I've become now, and that's being open and being honest and not being intoxicated as far as drinking and partying. Because that was like the easy way. It was like, okay, I worked so much. I had a kid young and it's time to party and let loose. It was like the way of me, like just unplugging, So that's the difference. That's the difference of being more aware and being conscious, like completely conscious of who I am. And it took a long road, but I feel like that's what created my success was from the suppression and how I handled it behind closed doors.
I want to thank you for your openness and your vulnerability. A lot of this series is about that. It's a lot of the questions that I ask are what I consider shadow work, right? Where we want to grow and learn from our experiences. And I appreciate you sharing that. The other thing that's very humbling is the way you speak about the older you and the newer you. I do that all the time because of all the self-awareness and all the the stuff that I've been through, and instead of like dwelling on it, really dealing with it. So yeah, I think it takes someone very strong like yourself to actually admit these things, speak about it, talk about how it's impacted you, but also how it's made you into a better person. So I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Do you forgive yourself for everything that's happened to you?
Oh, absolutely. Thank God. Thank God.
It's difficult to forgive yourself, right? At some point, how do you feel you were able to do that? And if somebody's watching that wants to forgive themselves, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, it was a few years of that, and that came in a very ugly form. It came in, fighting with people, arguing with them. As that continued to happen, I just felt that I wasn't heard. And because my directness, people took for defensiveness all the time, and they didn't want to take the time to really listen to me. And it's like, no, then I had to explain myself on why I'm feeling this way. And it was like, who am I around? Like, I'm not even around the right people. Like, if I have to explain why I'm a human, and humans are going to make mistakes, and humans are going to break down and cry, this is not my environment. You know what I mean? I think that's really important to share, because I am a very delicate, loving person, but I'm also very direct. So depending on where someone is in their life, they're going to take that the wrong way. So what I noticed was that when I was doing this work, I was still getting triggered, like very triggered by people in my life, my family and friends. And it was like, I'm like, wow, like every year that kept progressing, I said, okay, this person isn't listening to me. It's like they're really not. So it took the really ugly side of me to start forgiving myself, because I had to make a choice to remove myself from the people I was around. Because I'm like, I can't keep explaining to someone to understand me. Someone should just be able to understand me the way I am, open arms and open heart, and understanding them. And so it took the ugly parts. And sometimes I felt like if I had to confront someone in my family or my friends, I had to have a little alcohol to relax and have a little courage. What is it? Liquor courage to be like, well, let me tell them this. Let me not hold back. And it came from those spaces. But then I realized, okay, that's not working. So that's how I felt. I kept forgiving myself little by little and eliminating what didn't serve me, and accepting that I am amazing. It's just that I've been going through things, and no one wants to really understand that or listen to that, for selfish reasons, for immaturity reasons, right? Because sometimes it's not that people don't care about you. It's just that they're not there yet. So accepting that from the other person was how I started forgiving myself. Like, I'm like, I need to forgive myself before they even understand who I am to accept me, because I need to accept me first. So that took the ugly shit out. Like all the like, oh, this is happening again. Okay, this is someone. I need to select who these circles are. And that's how I shifted even my environment.
Right. So forgiving yourself, which then allowed you to be comfortable with yourself, which then allowed you to keep going. So
and then attract those people, right? Because once you provide that energy, that's what you're going to get.
Amen. You're probably the 15th, 16th interview I've done in the last 2 weeks. I still have to edit all of them, but your answer is amazing. This is probably one of my favorite ones so far. So
awesome.
I appreciate your insight. It's more than I thought. So great. Thank you.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That comes from a lot of work.
I understand. It was hard, like trying to explain to everyone all the work that I did. So I was like, how do we get this out to people? And it was like, well, let's show that we're all doing the work. A lot of us, not, maybe a lot of us aren't, but a lot of us are, and it makes your circle better, makes your kids better, makes your family, your partner, Like it just makes everything, it's a ripple effect of positivity away from the negative ripple effect that we've been facing for, who knows how long.
Generation.
Yep. Who did you look up to growing up and why?
The craziest thing sometimes I just noticed the other day, all my bios include my mom, right? So my mom didn't really speak to me that much, like when we were growing up, because she was so laser focused. She owned a salon. I grew up in her shadow of entrepreneurship, like a mom and pop hair salon. We're Dominican, so I was born first generation here, and I really looked up to her, like seeing the struggles that my mom had with three, and then my younger sister came, four children, having a business, not speaking English. Like, she's my idol. Like, I always would say, yo, that's my personal mentor, because I lived with her and I dealt with life with her. Did my mom communicate with me? No. Did she? My mom didn't even tell me when I was going to get my period. I had to find out through my friend. That's how the communication, right? Like, there was no guidance in that sense, unless it was asked, but I didn't know what to ask. My mom didn't hug me and kiss me, so it was very like, but I still looked up to her in the sense of entrepreneurship, because here you are in this country, not speaking English, and you're running a whole mom and pop hair salon. Like, that's like commendable. Like, whoa, and then you see this, and oh my gosh, I could only imagine her aspirations then, right? And her generation, how she didn't even know what kind of help she needed, what kind of coach she needed, right? So it's like, imagine if there was that for her. Imagine if there was a little bit more for me in the beginning, how further we would have gotten. But it's really my mom. Like, my mom, even to this day, my mom is 64 and she's still like, oh, yo tengo una idea, I have another idea. I'm like, hold on. Idea day is not today. let's put that in the calendar. But it just, my mom for sure. And then everyone else in the process, I would say, like, artists, right? Like artists like Destiny's Child. Like, I used to listen to their music and it felt so empowering. And I was only 15, but I understood it. And I was like, yeah, that's who we are. Like, we're this and we're that. And I felt like throughout music, the culture and the music into R&B and hip hop, that really also created that, like, looking up to people because they look like us. You know what I mean? Like, they look like how you're dressed right now. They have big hair like me, or they have braids. And you didn't see that as often as you do now. But that is something you look up to, because you're like, damn, if they're doing it big, I know I could in my own right, whatever that is. Because I wasn't a singer or a dancer, but, you figure it out.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. This is one of my favorites. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is what it's about. So I appreciate that.
So you could definitely find me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and there's Spa O on the go. That's the business page, and there's 2 O's, so it's Spa O and then on the go. And also Empowered with Lisa. That's my personal page, where you're going to see a little bit of tips on skincare, business coaching, one-on-one coaching for that, especially within my industry, the beauty and wellness industry. But I do take on, people who are in business and they have quick questions. I do that. So a little bit of coaching, and I do a lot of speaking now, which is awesome. It's fun to inspire, because my goal is to inspire and, service the world, really, because of, like you said, people go through things, and through your stories, we can heal someone else, and we could help and inspire others. And I started massage therapy out of like I didn't know what to do. I was pregnant at 21 with my son, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't want to sell cars for the rest of my life. I was a sales cars person for a while. And once I got pregnant, I was like, yeah, like, I can't work 12 hours, 13-hour days having a baby. So once I wrote down a list, right, of things that I wanted to become when I was a little girl, like, I went back to that inner child, and I wrote, I want to be a writer, I want to be a model, I want to be a nurse. And then I wrote down why I wanted to be those things, right? Because you go in deeper. And then nursing is the one thing that stood out the most. But then when I looked at the schooling, I was like, oh, that's a little bit much at the time, because I'm going to have a baby. But then you have these little pop-ups come up on the computer when you're doing searches, especially back in the day, like pop-ups were like crazy. You remember that? And so massage therapy came up, and I was like, oh, what is that? Like, I need a massage. I've never gotten one. And it brought me to like the school, right? So it's like if you just go in a little bit deeper within yourself, you'll find those little signs of where it's going to lead you to or not lead you to, because there's times where we think we want something, and when you do the homework and research, or you're like, I don't know if I could really see myself doing that, which is good because it's still leading you to where you're going to head to. So I like to provide that example because, one, I talked about my sexual abuse before and domestic violence, and then here I am training to meet massage people, to touch people when I didn't want to be touched, right? So to me, that's huge. It's like a complete 180, because it went from don't touch me, very defensive in my relationships, to like, whoa, did you just talk to me like that? Whoa, did you just try to touch me like that? Because, I didn't deal with that. To now providing massage therapy to the people, when now I'm in school and I have to be touched, like that was a huge challenge. I was like, oh my God, I can't show that I'm scared. I can't show that something happened to me because I was still closed off. But I went through it like, well, this is the training. I got to do it. If people are here, it's because they care. So I had to trust people, men and women, in my clinic hours. And I felt that was God. God was like, no, you're going to get through this. So now what's so beautiful, and I want to leave everyone with, is that my elevator pitch, right, or my bio is literally, I empower people through touch, literally through touch. And to me, it's just so beautiful because of my past. Like now I get to empower people through touch in their own space or in our spa. And now that I am moving myself away from the treatment room, and now I'm running the business thoroughly, but I'm training staff. And now I get to touch the people with my heart. Like I get to touch the hearts of the other people now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a whole 180 thing. So yeah,